This is the market update. I'm your host, Bill Noble. If you need a roadmap in crypto and you need a recap of all the big news that's out there, subscribe to this channel. Turn on alerts so you know when we're going live on big days like today. And make sure you smash the like button and leave a comment. We'll be getting a lot more involved in terms of commenting and interactions going forward. All right, we have everything today, like everything. We're going to go over SBF, and I'm going to tell you why that could have been the low of the 2022 bear market. So don't go anywhere for that. We're going to do live TA on Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? So we're going to use daily charts, weekly charts, 90-minute charts for both, major cryptos and equities, along with more news about how max bearish sentiment was reached in equities. And our first stream on this channel was about a Santa rally. That's got some great art. It's got some great art on it from @KathyCrypto. So if you haven't checked out that stream, do check it out, because, we were there for you on this move. Also, gold and silver. That is a big trade, and it could get bigger. I'm talking about parabolic action starting now, catching people sleeping. Okay. And then also, we're going to have maybe a little live TA where I'm going to discuss the methodology that we're going to be using to do 2023 price prediction levels for all the big cryptos. So if there's a big crypto that you're interested in later on in the stream, let us know and stick around. All right. Let's see who's here. Bull Runner, hi, first on the stream. Welcome and well done. Okay, we have As Israr here, Mike Rocks, right, staying up late to catch the update. Ashton, let's go. Okay, Crypto P for T. Okay, Donato is here, welcome. Crypto to Cash, Winter Park in the house. North Carolina is back. Caleb, hello. Right, Maven 9472, James, hi. Mr. Moby Dick 666 is here. Crypto rally coming. Okay, he likes the hat. Caleb likes the hat. It must be cold in Texas. It's getting there, right? Sydney, Australia, giving me some love. I appreciate that. Spread the word. The market update is back. Matter of fact, don't call it a come here. Don't call it a comeback. We've been here for years. Augusta, Georgia in the house. Richard Barry, James Stewart, Kabor, Crypto Crazy is here. Florida, right? Okay. Daydream has been looking for me on Discord, Twitter, Telegram, and YouTube. They've been everywhere. Yes, it's Crypto Noble on YouTube, youtube.com/@CryptoNoble, one word, but you know that because you're here already. Hello from Oklahoma, don't ask, right? Jappy Finland, Golden, SKT Khan is here. Welcome, right? Welcome. All right. Richard Barry looking for a Bitcoin God candle. Oh my God. It could so effing happen. So effing happen. So SBF, inflation, the Fed, even CZ and the SEC all fit in this picture all together. So if you've ever watched the stream, this is the stream to watch, because I'm going to put it all together. I'm going to cover it all, and I'm going to synthesize all this information. So just don't go anywhere. And if you're watching the recording, watch the whole recording. You don't have to go watch 4 or 5 people on this one, right? I respect other content providers. Of course I do, right? But I think this one is going to take care of you. All right. NFA, LFG. Let's go. Okay. So the first question is, SBF got arrested. Okay. And the question is, why did it take so long? So I lost followers on this tweet. Okay. Now, probably because I didn't clarify that Armstrong was Brian Armstrong. Okay, not Ben. Of course, it's not Ben. So when SBF cuts a deal, right, because he's got to plead guilty, who's he going to roll over on? Coinbase, Binance, the SEC, or people who were getting funds through SBF and FTX like Zelenskyy, okay, or all of the above. So let's go over this. It took a long time for them to figure out that the guy from FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, should get arrested for essentially gambling with other people's money, buying firms who gambled with other people's money, used his own token as money, and then when it was all said and done, he had to use his depositors' money to cover the speculative bets, creating the biggest financial scandal in the history of finance. Beyond Enron, beyond WorldCom, beyond long-term capital management, even beyond what happened in 2008. 2008 was systemic, but there was never a bigger fraud than this. Okay, so he's got to plead guilty, and when he pleads guilty, what's he going to do? Well, believe it or not, I think the SEC and Gensler have got a hand in this, right? There are relationships between Gensler and SBF's parents. I've seen all kinds of tweets about this. SBF was lobbying Gensler for more control of crypto. The SEC is going to press charges, but I'm just telling you right now, when this is done and his lawyers get on the tape, because you got to remember, right now it's been SBF babbling on Twitter Spaces, and it's really hard to believe his lawyers have allowed that. But I think they've allowed it on purpose because they don't care. They're just going to plead guilty. They're going to plead guilty because they know they're going away. But what they're going to do is they're going to take people down with them. And the president of the United States is going to call Gensler, and he's going to clean house. Gensler is done, right? He's done, right? He's going to have to step down. He'll take a private sector post. He'll just quietly go away. So the SEC will still, I mean, crypto haters will not go away, but Gensler is done. Then the other person who's going to have to answer questions may wind up being Zelenskyy at the 1-year anniversary of the war with Russia. In other words, if U.S. government funds wound up in FTX and lost, or Zelenskyy is somehow tied, to money in crypto transferred via FTX, well, nothing's going to happen to Zelenskyy. He's not going to quit or anything. But the president of the United States is going to tell Zelenskyy that he's got to get to the negotiating table. In other words, if they're attacking inside of Russia now, believe it or not, FTX and SBF revealing a tell-all on all these people may actually create something that's positive for both crypto and the world. Let's stop fighting, right? That reduces commodity inflation. So you're probably like, Bill, what's the Zelenskyy angle? Well, an end to the fighting between Russia and Ukraine reduces commodity price inflation, right? And when SBF's lawyers, right, they can't defend SBF, but what they can do is they can cut a deal with the government so that maybe the guy gets out of prison when he's older. But if SBF is going down, he's taking everyone else down with him. Now let's talk about going down. Okay, let's talk about going down. Last night, people were saying, after SBF got arrested, get your money out of Binance. Now, I restrained myself and didn't retweet that. And here's why. One of the reasons why it took, I think, the government so long to arrest him is because that allowed Coinbase and Binance to secure financing, or to secure something that would plug any problems from the FTX contagion. Now, if Coinbase and Binance, or particularly Binance, went down, as in, fell apart, that contagion would spread into global banking systems, right? FTX is bad enough. Binance or Coinbase, it unglues crypto, and people were like, this is the end of crypto. And that sentiment was on Twitter the night before SBF got arrested. The end, not the end of Twitter, the end of crypto. Last night, people were saying that that Binance is in trouble, and if so, this is the end of crypto. That was the bearish sentiment right before the inflation number came out, confirming all kinds of technical bottoms. So is it possible that SBF, and this is frequently true with crises and scandals, right? Like when the big scandal ends, when it's all revealed, when SBF is finally, it's done. That's done. It's over, right? They're in bankruptcy, and, SBF's lawyers are going to compete with Musk for the narrative by rolling over on everybody. Okay. And all of this is constructive for crypto because all the big players had time to get themselves ready. And now crypto is rallying after everybody went out and got bearish. Everybody. Okay. Now let's go to other SBF related or non-SBF related ideas. Okay. Charlie Bilello, if I'm pronouncing that right, pretty much like one of the smartest, most understandable macroeconomic guys out there, with the exception of Shelter, which is lagging the real-time decline in rents and home prices. So in other words, rents and home prices have already gone down, but that wasn't picked up in the CPI numbers that have recently came out. And believe it or not, even though we're discussing the CPI news that came out in mid-December, I think this is going to have evergreen. It's going to be evergreen because all of the major CPI components, as Charlie is saying here, showed a lower year-over-year increase in November. Meaning, if retailers want to have Christmas or holidays, they're going to have to cut prices. And the increase that the way prices accelerated is ending because the Fed hiked rates and consumers ran out of room on their credit cards. So inflation is over. Or actually say, no, the inflation is not over because things are permanently more expensive. Prices don't go back down. The rate of price increases is what stops. That's what stops. So when we say inflation is dead, prices are still higher, but the rate that prices increase is falling out of bed. And the Fed continue to hike rates. And if the Fed does another big rate increase, that just seals the deal. So this is another case of buy the fact, right? SBF goes to jail. Everyone's bearish crypto, buy the fact. Inflation starts to roll over. The Fed hikes rates anyway. I don't care what they say about it. It's over, right? It's like at the end of any tightening cycle, right? The bond market immediately starts to price in the next rate cut or the end of rate hikes. And that's probably already been happening. It's just going to accelerate, particularly in equities. Okay, speaking of equities, this also matters massively for crypto. The last time investors were this underweight stocks relative to bonds was April of 2009. Okay, with further signs inflation is dropping quickly, this could be more fuel for the equity rally. So everyone bearish stocks, everyone owns bonds instead of stocks. March 2009, May of 2020, everybody runs out of equities. And December 2022, everybody out. So we used to have this joke in Legacy in this bond market. Everybody out, everybody back in again. Okay. Everybody left the building. Santa rally, Santa rally, Santa rally. People drew this trend line in the S&P, which was overdrawn. Let's see if I can find it. Okay. So here's, let me take out the Bollinger Bands for the moment. Okay. So, okay, this was the trend line in S&P, right? That everybody was saying was like the end of the world. Okay. There is going to be tax loss selling in S&P. But what you're noticing is that S&P gapped through it. So, S&P opened up much higher. Then it went up, but now it's coming back down, but it's retesting the trend line. I see this all the time in crypto. So you're like, oh my God, that's a really ugly candle. Actually, no, because sometimes when there's a breakout, right, markets do the breakout and the retest all in the same candle. Okay, let's go to Bollinger Bands on VIX, and then I'm going back to the news. Okay, just in case, because, everyone's going to be like, oh, okay, fade the rally. All right, so here in VIX, Bollinger Bands are always useful. Bollinger Bands are used calculating statistics. They calculate 2 standard deviations above or below a moving average. So basically, it takes a moving average, and then it says, what are the levels where VIX in this case would be stretched out on the upside and the downside. So at Thanksgiving, VIX was too stretched out on the downside. It made one final low, thinking that it was a Santa rally. Then everybody panicked about inflation and the Fed. VIX went straight up. VIX was up 10% yesterday. That's a lot. Like this huge gap. So that's probably an exhaustion gap in my mind because it hits the top Bollinger Band, just like it did over here. So like everybody was at max fear. Crypto was at max fear last night over SBF and Binance, and equities were already at max fear. Okay, back to Twitter. Back to the news, which is intermingled. Okay. Wait, let me just find this. Because, this, oh God, I swear to God, I have a lot of respect for this guy because he has to produce content every day like I do. Right. But, he's not having a good year. And I've had not good years where just literally everything you say is a reverse indicator. Truthfully, like everything. So, I don't know. The guy was long big tech stocks at the high. They went down. He liked banks. They went down. He said, sell all your crypto at the lows 3 days ago. And now he doesn't want to buy Coinbase because it's too early. Well, of course it's too early, right? Because everyone is still bearish, right? You want to think about these things, not investment advice when everyone is too bearish. Okay. And then, inverse Cramer Twitter following, which is interesting. He goes, okay, Jim. So, I mean, when you're having a bad year, you're having a bad year. Okay. I leave that without comment. Okay. Now, this guy, Brett King, I have a huge amount of respect for this guy. I saw him speak at Consensus. He's got a book out called Techno Socialism about the future of AI, which, unlike the future of AI in some books that, scare the hell out of you because they talk about, what the employment picture looks like. This guy has a little bit more of a positive spin on it. But, he says Elon Musk, he's been a supporter and he's written books extolling his innovation, but he's officially lost it by supporting disinformation and he's disappointed. Okay. And okay, I get it. He's got every right to say that. And I support that. Said, but when you defend free speech, you often have to defend those you don't agree with. Let that sink in. One day, your opinion will be the one that no one likes. One day, or your kids. So whether someone's being an idiot or not, whether there's an uptick in certain things being said on platforms, I get that. But freedom has a price, and you have to tolerate people you don't agree with. Now, back to Elon, okay? It is a question of time before Elon jumps on this rally. He's going to jump on it, right? So here's Bitcoin. Okay, so we're moving to a little bit of live TA, right? So this is Bitcoin, and this is the 13 bottom right here. This is all the way back on October 13th. And here is the overshoot off the SBF FTX news. So it was actually over in October for Bitcoin on the downside. And then there was this final give up trade, which was then followed by a base. And of course, for everybody who's still watching the live stream, if we can go out there and you can help me find all those people who were watching the live stream for 3 years, there's just a simple saying: the bigger the base, the higher in the space. So this is a base in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin with this one signal, right, on the DeMark is essentially confirming the 13 bottom, which is a nice way of saying, that's it. That's it. If you get a Bitcoin candle today that holds and equities hold on a dip, if people come in and buy the dip, then you've got yourself a real rally. Okay. ETH to me looks way better. Okay. This picture could have gone either way, but ETH is taking out major support. Everybody was afraid of 1300, but it didn't back off. See, this is a familiar theme actually from crypto bull markets, right? Where you would get a consolidation underneath resistance. And then that was the point where, smart money might start picking it up, and then boom. Once it goes through resistance, you've got trade location, right? And then also, if you look at ETH, ETH is getting into these vacuum periods where, if ETH goes above 1334, the next resistance point you could be looking at is 1568, right? Like everybody is out, everybody is bearish, and everybody is underinvested. So if you're a crypto hedge fund and you were busy pulling your money out of Binance last night, and then you wake up with, 15 trading days left to go in the year, and you're all of a sudden, you're out of the market, you're off exchanges, and you're underperforming. So this could lead to huge pressure via decentralized derivatives platforms, or people just start sending their money into Coinbase, and all these whales that were about to sell their Bitcoin, maybe they get filled. I mean, seriously, everyone was like, long-term Bitcoin hodlers are moving money to Coinbase to sell because they're going to give up. I mean, I just don't know if there could have been more bearish on crypto Twitter than there were yesterday. Meanwhile, Wolf of Wall Street, this is yesterday's news, by the way. Jordan Belfort expects Bitcoin and Ethereum to be substantially higher despite the FTX collapse. Okay. He says FTX was a scam and there was no way to protect against a scam like that. Okay. But just because FTX itself was a scam, that doesn't mean that you can disregard Bitcoin completely and say it's worthless or going to zero. The same goes for Ethereum. Now, one of the things that I've been saying, that everyone's talking about SBF, everyone's flying to the Bahamas. No one is talking about the market. No one is talking about the market. I mean, seriously, yesterday on a system we have that helps us find popular titles and thumbnails, crypto market update was like one of the lowest searched items yesterday. And then last night, everybody got bearish, and boom. VIX is down 10%. Bitcoin and ETH are higher. Now, let's just go through this. So I know this is a lot, but all the banks had CPI forecast in sync. Okay. So all the banks were predicting, what they do is they take the monthly CPI rate and they turn it into an annual number. So they say, this is what happened last month. And if whatever happened last month was annualized, these are the rates of inflation that all these banks were predicting. From 7.4 to 7.2, and the actual number was around 7.1. So it's almost like they guaranteed a surprise by having all their numbers synced above what actually printed. Because one thing you need to know about economic numbers is that the moves never occur based on the actual numbers. The moves occur based on what people expected versus the actual numbers. In other words, Wall Street guaranteed itself a rally right out of nowhere. Okay. The Santa rally that the investment banks need, they sort of engineered it because they know inflation is rolling over. Okay. So Richard says, speaking of consensus, what do you mean before when banks want to get out of consensus? What does this even mean? Both, consensus and why banks want to get out. Okay. So researchers inside investment banks who cover specific stocks, if everybody has that stock a buy, they can get rewarded if they rank it a sell, have a good reason, and the stock winds up going down. So as an analyst, you want to identify what everyone else thinks and then go the other way as much as you can, which is what I've been trying to do in crypto on this channel, on this stream for like 2 weeks, right? Everyone was negative. And the first thing we put on the site was Santa Rally. Okay. All right. Crypto Crazy says arrest right before testimony. Interesting. Hey, Bubba's back. SKT Khan is here. Leads England in the house. Welcome. Welcome. Right. Adam Monero. If ETH gets above 1,500, I'm going to start aping into short stocks. All right. Well, that's another story, right? In other words, if people get squeezed bad enough, will that provide an opportunity for bears? It might. It might. But that's a 2023 story, right? In other words, crypto up was considered never or next year. I'm saying now. Then, if you want to short ETH at 1,600 or, you want to get out, okay, all right, well, we'll talk about that then. But I'm thinking we're looking at least a couple of weeks, and here's why. So let's do something that no one is doing, and let's look at weekly charts, okay? Now, here's a weekly chart of Bitcoin, right? Here's like the whole history, okay? So this is 2017, and we go all the way back, and, the top at 65,000, you see the 5-wave top, right? That was a 5 and a 0. In other words, in DeMark Elliott wave terms, that was the top. Okay. And then you have, A down to 35K, B up to 40K, and then C down to 15K. Okay. And as you've heard on the show, spread the word back. C waves can be brutal. They can be brutal. So it's like, it's a correction. It's going to go up. It's going to 0. By the time the C wave is over, everyone thinks it's going to 0. Okay. Well, same thing here. Okay. And then if you try to look at the DeMark work, if we look at the sequential work, right, we can notice that, there was a 13 bottom back in the Celsius days, and that produced a big rally from 17 to 22. There was actually a 13 bottom on the weekly chart. Okay. And a 9 bottom back in October. So on the weekly chart, it was over in Bitcoin, just like on the daily chart. It was over. And then, of course, you had this huge overshoot from FTX. So FTX, in effect, was the give up trade in all of crypto. In other words, bear markets end when a big person blows up. We thought that big person was Celsius and related hedge funds, but FTX was the big blow up. Okay. And then you've got a confirmation of the 13 bottom last week in Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has been going the other way for a week now. Everyone's like, oh, this is the new rally. No, actually, this is the rally we saw. I don't know. I mean, this has been around for a while. The Santa rally has been on. Now, we're going to use something else. I'm actually going to take off the DeMark sequential stuff for just a second. So this diagonal support line is a way of using Fibonacci numbers to draw support in DeMark, right? It's called absolute retracement. I had to actually watch videos to learn how to use it, but I didn't even realize that absolute retracement levels that I drew a long time ago, okay, the support held. It held in June, and it held like a rock 3 weeks in a row. Again, we're looking at the ETH weekly chart. Now, as we look at the ETH weekly chart, ETH is about to take out an important moving average, which it hasn't been able to get through in October, and it wasn't able to hold above in September. So if ETH takes out this moving average, which right now is at 1319, Okay, the next moving average is at 2165. And again, this is the ETH weekly chart. Now, you think that's ridiculous? Okay. Let me give you a more ridiculous. Let me give you something that everyone was talking about way back when, and now no one's talking about it, which is why we're going to talk about it. Okay, so let's talk about ETH, right? Where was the first wave in ETH? Right? So we're going to talk about 5 waves, right? So ETH started in December 2018 at 84, and the first leg up was a move to June of 2419 at 350. Okay? And then there was a 2 wave, which of course, they're annoying. They're horrible. They shake everybody out. There's a huge amount of gratification in the 3 waves, so the 2 waves, terrible. So you had to wait from June of 2019. You had to endure a slump for all of 2019. Then you had to deal with a huge rally up in early 2020, and then the COVID collapse. So everybody in, everybody out, everybody back in again, everybody out. And then what happens? You get a 3 wave. So COVID was the bottom of the 2 wave, and the 3 wave, you have to just draw and draw and draw. The 3 wave actually topped in November of last year at 4,000. And then, just like the 2 wave, the 4 wave shakes you out. Shake it. Down 2,500, 3,500, down, merge trap, which I got caught in. Okay. And then everybody just sits while it just bores you to death. So the final shakeout for the 3 wave was COVID. The final shakeout for the 4 wave was boredom. Okay, so there's the 4. Now you're like, okay, Bill, I got that. So are you saying that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and that there's going to be a new high? That's going to be the 5 wave. And this is a weekly chart. Now, let me ask you something. Who in crypto is talking about a new high in ETH? I am. It doesn't have to be rational. 5 waves are not rational. 5 waves are emotional. Now, how does a 5 wave happen in ETH? How does ETH make a new high? Well, it's easy. Gold just goes to 3,000 and ETH just is the high beta thing that moves along with gold and silver. ETH is also deflationary, and other layer 1s that were going to kill ETH wound up killed themselves. So if there's a performance chase in Ethereum, if people are off exchanges and can't get back on exchanges, let me just ask a quick question. If everyone comes in to buy Ethereum, who's the seller? If everyone's off exchanges, who's the seller in Ethereum? And Vitalik has ETH supply shrinking, and Gensler's done. He's done, right? So the SEC can do what it wants, but the SEC and FTX could go down together. Or at least Gensler could. The SEC is not going down, but Gensler could wind up embarrassed here. And their ability to pick on crypto is not going to go away, but it won't be tradable news for a while. And everyone's like, well, I can't buy ETH because of blank. Regulation, liquidation. There's a reason not to buy ETH. Okay, great. There's a reason not to buy ETH, and everyone knows that. But no one's talking about the reasons to buy ETH. None. Nobody's talking about this. Okay. ETH monthly. Okay. The 13 top in April was the genesis of sell in May and go away and get to the chopper. Right. Back when like 10,000 people were watching the show. Seriously. That was get everybody out in April. Off the DeMark work. Now, I didn't know Celsius was out there, but the more they told you that everything was all right, you knew it wasn't. You absolutely knew it wasn't. It wasn't right from a TA point of view. And when you have these scandals and you have these liquidations, the more they tell you everything is all right, the more you know it isn't. Which is why I was like, get out, get out, get out, get out. Now you have the reverse. You have a 9 bottom, right? You have a tenuous, boring, choppy range, right? Where last week, you know, it's like we go red, green, red, and everyone's like, yeah. And then last night, everyone was like, everything is not all right. Matter of fact, everything is terrible. Everyone's going down. People may get embarrassed, but people were like, this could be the end of crypto. Like they were like, there could be a problem with an exchange, and this is the end. So we went from everything is fine in April to last night, the day before SBF got arrested. People were like, this is the end. Now, in April, it was get to the chopper. And now it's like, you got to ask yourself, I've always wanted to buy the dip. I've heard all kinds of stories on webinars. I had all kinds of people in the bull market saying, I can't wait for the bear market so I can get in. And now everyone's out and no one wants to touch it. Like everyone's like, oh, ETH at 1,300 is too expensive. ETH at 1,500 is too expensive. I can't buy it now. That's how 5 waves work. They go, oh, I can't do it. Oh, I can't do it. Oh, I can't do it. And then all of a sudden, boom. Somebody big starts doing it. Somebody big rams it higher. Like, don't think when Novogratz hit the tape saying that this guy from FTX, you know, that his PR tour on Good Morning America was BS. Don't think that these guys weren't hoovering up everything. We haven't even talked about NFTs and art. We haven't even talked about that, or the metaverse. We haven't even talked about that. We haven't. It's like you can't even get that far because people can't get their head wrapped around Bitcoin and ETH. Okay, Bitcoin on the monthly chart. Okay, again, the same thing. Look at the DeMark oscillator. It's called DeMarker. It's got a little bit of a forward-looking component to it. I mean, let's take the sequential off. Okay, so I know it's monthly, but there was a 0 at the top and there was a 0 for November. Now, this also has a 1, which means it's the first leg down in Bitcoin, and you would only use that if you thought Bitcoin was going to 0. I like the 0 signal that this was it at the top, and that was in at the bottom, and that was November, and no one believed me, right? And then here, the DeMarker oscillator is like at 0. I mean, it can't get any more oversold than this. No one's talking about Bitcoin and ETH on daily charts. No one's talking about, I don't think anyone's talking about it at all. Right? Now, let's go to intraday charts. Let's go to 90-minute charts. Okay. So in DeMark terms, we're in the start of the setup phase in ETH. Just look at intraday. So there are going to be probably 9 90-minute bars in ETH on the upside before ETH really corrects. So people like, I'll buy the dip. Well, they're giving you now at 1326. Okay, that's all right. But that's not going to bring in big buyers. Big buyers are going to come in when they see that gold and silver are going to rally right through anything the Fed says. People are like, well, I'm too cautious. I can't buy it. I can't buy it. I can't buy it. I can't buy it. Okay. Well, you know, crypto could go down, but is that really news? Do you need to watch a live stream about the fact that crypto might go down? Of course not. You need to watch a live stream about what happens when crypto goes up. Okay. ETH on a 240-minute chart, which is 4 hours. Okay. Again, okay, here's the breakout above 1,300. No one wanted to touch it. No one wants to touch it when it goes up. Okay. You could make an argument that this is a 5-wave top, that the ETH rally that's occurred off the lows from November is over. Okay. Right. You could just say this is emotional. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's legit, right? I mean, I'm not here to be like one-sided. I'm just pulling up all the charts and we're just doing live TA on all of them. And we're just going to do this until I can't talk anymore. Seriously, that's what we're doing today. So if you want to know about your altcoin or where this is going, share the stream, tell your friends. There were 4,000 people watching this show every day for 2 years. Bring them all back. ETH 4-hour chart. Okay, so we got at least 2 more 4-hour periods, I think, because we're on a DeMark 7. So, you know, 7, that's 4 hours. 8, that's 4 hours. 9, that's 4 hours. So in the next 24 hours, it is possible, as one of our viewers suggested that you could have a God candle, especially if the Fed comes out and says, yeah, you know, we're going to continue to raise rates, but we're basically happy with what's going on, right? We're not unhappy with this. Like home prices in Austin, Texas are 18% lower, which is where, you know, I'm currently residing in this city. Austin, Texas home prices are down 18% from their peak, right? Never forget that only 6 months ago, people said this market wouldn't crash, that everybody was going to flood in from California, that Silicon Valley was never going to stop coming. And as soon as the Fed hikes rates, these companies are going to lay people off in 5 and 10K chunks. And that's sad, but they're not coming to Austin. They're not, right? Austin is priced for an ongoing Silicon Valley influx. Downtown Austin real estate, there's massive construction down there. People are going to be left holding bags, right? And prices are, some things are going to plummet. Okay. And we can get into that more. We can actually get into that more. So again, you know, going back to where we started with the Bitcoin daily chart, I mean, what's the upside? Like, where's the upside? So in Elliott wave terms, you normally attack the top of the give up trade, which is, they call it the previous fourth. So regardless of whether it's a bull market or a bear market, or whether you want to be short, okay, Bitcoin at a minimum should go to 21,042 because that's the top of the DeMark 4 wave. Now above that, there's DeMark resistance at 22,799. So I would say if Bitcoin actually takes out 21.4, if you're watching this 2 weeks from now, if Bitcoin takes out 21.4, I think you're looking at 22. And I don't even know if there's such a level in ETH, right? You know, there's a level in ETH at 2,700. I mean, just going off this DeMark work, I don't really see anything that's going to stop ETH. Now let's go back over to TradingView and let's talk about something that, you know, no one wants to talk about because I don't think anybody likes it. Okay. So this is a seasonal chart of ETHE. Okay. So whatever ETHE does in one season, it kind of unwinds it in the next season. And there are these V tops in the middle. So here's March, the start of spring. ETHE, which again is Ethereum traded in the equity market. ETH up, ETH down. Summer starts, ETH up, ETH down. Start of fall, September, ETH up. Then in the second half of the season, ETH down. Okay. Starting December 20th, that's roughly around the winter solstice. We're going to finish with ETHE down, and then it's going to be ETHE up in January, if not sooner. If not sooner. Like everybody is looking for the blow up, and the blow up may be on the upside. Now, of course, we've got to let the market trade. We can't get euphoric. Okay. Silver, right? Again, every time silver goes up, everyone takes profits, right? And here's something about Elon Musk that I talked about on the Twitter space yesterday. First of all, Elon Musk is not going away. Nobody forget to have me do Doge, because that's next. If Elon successfully buys a silver market, then he's long silver. And we already know that the whole world is short silver for various mechanical reasons in the silver market. I mean, I finally found European silver coins for my daughter. Okay. And people are getting so hosed at the retail level in silver. So this is the silver Kookaburra coin from Australia, from the Perth Mint. Amazing. So these are from like 2015. These are beautiful coins. And the dealer is only going to give me spot price for these. And it's going to make me pay $7 premium to get into the European silver coin from the Austrian Mint. It's got a face value of €1, just so my daughter's got some silver. Now we're only talking about 12 coins, but retail's just getting ripped off in silver because everybody knows that the physical is what's going higher. It's going higher, right? And then in silver, right, you're breaking out and you're in this air pocket headed for the top of the give up trade, right? Actually, the top of the give up trade may actually be up here. So, you know, silver was, and of course you're wondering, gee, Bill, why all of a sudden do you care about this? Precious metals and ETH mathematically go together. Okay. So silver took out this previous fourth and smoked higher. You see how it went up there, down, and then once it went back up and through there, it just kept going. Right now, I think silver is going to take out the final leg of the big give up trade, which is all the way up here at 27. Right. And again, the physical market is already there. I mean, effectively, I'm paying $30 for a 1 ounce coin because there's a shortage of silver. Silver is not out there. And when Elon buys a silver mine, then he's going to talk his book. He's going to be like, I got silver. Nah, 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 nah. Not to mention what happens when Elon has to pay out through the wazoo to get silver. So people are going to see what he pays for the mine. They're going to look at the stocks related to that mine. And they're going to say, based on what Elon just paid for the mine, silver should be at, and ETH follows silver. Okay. The gold trade. I mean, if people don't get this now, I can't help them. Right. There was a trend line break. Everyone was talking about the trend line in S&P. The real trend line break was in gold, right? Clear head and shoulders bottom, clear break of a downtrend line, tops 1960. Now, investment banks 2 days ago were releasing reports saying gold is better than Bitcoin because gold is a defensive asset that's not connected to, you know, falling stocks, rising rates, and all the grim doom and gloom stuff that's happened all year. And that research is absolutely correct, right? But what they're not adding is that they say, well, Bitcoin is primarily for investment purposes. It doesn't have a use case. Yeah, it doesn't have a use case right now. But how easy is it to find a use case for it when retailers like Walmart and Target need to attract higher end consumers to make up for the fact that lower end consumers either can't afford to buy goods or are stealing money? Like, how do they make up for the shoplifting losses? Well, it's easy. They embrace crypto. And, you know, you got to pay a little bit of a premium to pay with crypto. And that's going to happen, right? The theft problem in retail is going to get solved by Bitcoin and Ethereum. Just going to hold up your MetaMask and scan and go. You may wind up paying more, but crypto people will be delirious to see mainstream adoption. So they say Bitcoin has no use case now. They say Bitcoin is attached to easy money, which is true because Bitcoin has never seen a tightening cycle. But what do you think of the Fed's tightening cycle now? What do you think about that? The more the Fed tightens now with Austin real estate down 20%, they just drive Austin real estate down 40%. That's not tight financial conditions. I mean, it is for the moment, but eventually that gets unwound. And crypto has priced it in a long time ago. Because again, back to the Bitcoin chart, crypto's been way ahead of this. I mean, way ahead of this. This is Bitcoin on a daily chart, right? And just let's put in, let's just track it versus, say, let's track it versus bonds. So bear with me. So I'm bringing up, let's try TLT. Okay. Bitcoin was way ahead of bonds. So TLT is in the orange. Let me just label this because I know there are going to be people who are watching this later. Okay. TLT is an ETF in the stock market that follows long-term bonds, which are very sensitive to inflation. Okay. So Bitcoin actually topped right here. Okay. So this is November of 2021. Bitcoin topped and went straight down, and bonds were still in their range. Like if you look at the orange line, you know, I don't know, bonds didn't do much. Bonds started falling out of bed in March of 2022 after Bitcoin had already topped. Like in March of 2022, you already knew it was over in crypto land. Okay. It was over. Like the 65K. I mean, everybody was talking about 100K Bitcoin here. Ironically, except me in like an obscure newspaper article. I was talking to a guy from Business Insider, and he says, do you have a revised forecast? I'm like, yeah, it's below 100K. You know, it's not horn tooting. It was just the fact that crypto was going to top before everything else. And that's what happened, right? I mean, bonds really didn't start to go down only. Bonds started to go down only in this case. Like, yeah, in this case, they led crypto. So they started moving together, but the major V top in Bitcoin occurred before bonds fell out of bed. I'm sorry. And crypto leads. And now, ironically, Bitcoin's got a lot of catching up to do. Like bonds have been rallying since October. TLT has been rallying since October, and Bitcoin has done nothing. So what am I trying to say? Bitcoin topped. Bitcoin led the way on the way down because of rising interest rates. The bond market's already telling you it's over, and crypto's sitting here doing nothing. So crypto is quick to get scared. I get it. It's illiquid, fast moving. Crypto doesn't like rising rates. They've never seen rising rates. So of course, but now nobody wants to get back in, and whales are moving money into Binance to get out. I'm like, oh, so let's try. I mean, again, we're just, you know, there's no PowerPoint on this. We're just doing live TA. Okay. So if we start drawing fib speed resistance lines and we start asking ourselves, like, so here was the start of the give up trade in Bitcoin. So with fib speed resistance line, actually, let me just draw it again. So people, I did that too fast. So you want to find a peak, right? There's 32K when everybody thought it was going to 40, right? That's the high. And then, you know, off SBF, that's the low right there at, you know, 15 and change. So, I mean, Bitcoin failed up at this line, okay, after a false breakout. And now everyone is pausing at the line. The line is at basically, I don't know, it's a little bit underneath 18K. So no one wants to pay 18K for Bitcoin. Okay. Okay. Now watch this. Let's move the fib speed resistance line to that high uptick. It's still at 18K. Okay. No one wants to buy Bitcoin at 18K because the last time you tried to buy it on top of this fib speed resistance line, you got smoked and FTX blew up. So I guess if it goes to 18K and there's a problem with Binance, well, you'll have history will repeat itself, and you know, you'll have Bitcoin at 13K. And that's what bears will talk about. Right? They'll say, let's get short, let's get out. Fine. Okay, but if it breaks through 18K, there's nobody home until 21. I mean, you have 21, 22, and up here you have 25. Let's try a trend line. Okay. So there was a bump and run down here, which nobody saw at Thanksgiving. Probably because they were too busy watching me get cursed off on Twitter. Right? There was a bump and run in Bitcoin where Bitcoin broke out, made a return move that lasted 5 days, which is annoying. Right? It's just the market before it goes up is annoying. Right? It always shakes you out. It always bores you to death. It never freaking stops. Okay. Richard Barry says PowerPoint sucks. Live TA is the ultimate alpha. Okay, cool. Driftless crypto is here. Right Notorious on fire. Yeah, I know. I'm just getting warmed up here. Okay. Moon sector, greetings from Norway. Okay. AAM, smash the like button. Please do that. Please hit the like button. Right. We're trying to, we have a new threshold, trying to get over 300 or 500 likes. I want to get to 3, and then I want to get to 5, and I want to get 1,000 views on a stream. Okay. Let's do it. Let's get the news out there. By the way, have we talked about the dollar? No. Why? Well, because the dollar's boring, right? No one wanted to hear anything I said about the dollar at 111 because the dollar was going up forever, according to Bloomberg magazine. And of course, the media and a bunch of, A- journalism students know everything about markets. Please, whatever the media is doing, just do the opposite. Okay. So, DXY on a 4-hour chart. Let's do the 4-hour chart. Okay. Using hidden pivot analysis that I drew on a prior stream. I said if DXY couldn't get above 105.2, which it tried to for, let me just bring this down. DXY tried to get above 105, like, I don't know how many times. It's like it tried like 1, 2, 3, 4 times and just failed. DXY is going to go to 102.41. So the dollar is going to collapse off the Fed or on deficits. You can just name all the reasons why the dollar is going to collapse. Political division. I think it's just old-fashioned policy error by the Fed. They went to 5%. They may continue to talk about 5%, and people are just going to be like, okay, yeah, that's nice. See it. Oh, yeah, don't forget about Doge. Thank you for reminding me. Elon Musk is not going to let FTX take the narrative away. It's just not. He's not going to let it happen. Can't. Right? He's got too much invested in Twitter. So the second, and this is the reason why the bear market could be over, right? Because all the bad news about SBF is going to come out or is out. And if there is more SBF news, it's going to be whoever he rolls over on, which could be people in the government who hate crypto. No one is talking about that. No one. Even though it is on crypto Twitter that this guy had a lot of political connections. So everybody who's been hating on crypto needs to shut up at the government level. So Doge, the 5-wave bottom of the bear market, was actually a long time ago in June off Celsius. Interesting. Doge never made a new low, right? That's because Elon took over Twitter. Okay. The 1 wave up was, again, when Elon took over Twitter. That was the 1 wave. And then, of course, what did Doge do? It bored everyone to death. It just sat there and sat there. That was the 2-wave low back in October. Okay. Doge explodes. That's the 3-wave. Okay. The 4-wave, again, back in November. Everyone's selling Doge off SBF, and they were underestimating Elon. So what happens if this chart is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's a new high in Doge? Like, where could that put Doge? Okay. So there's a clear 9 bottom in Doge on the daily chart. Okay. The next level is probably 11 cents. No one has figured this out yet. Let's just go to the weekly chart, see if we can find anything there. Okay. So the next down move in Doge will be a 13 bottom. So, it's at a 12 here. This plus means any down move that could occurs on a weekly basis is going to be a 13 bottom. I don't know if it even gets there. Okay. It's actually going the other way. Okay. Next resistance in Doge is 17 cents on the weekly chart. Like, do you really think Elon is going to sit there and let the SPF story control the narrative? He's going to do Twitter files on one hand. So if that trade's over, and he's not going to do Bitcoin because that's what Jack was into. So he's got to find his own idea. His own idea is Doge. And then it's going to be Twitter. It's either going to be Twitter coin, okay, or Twitter's stock as a registered security token that can also be used as money as a medium of exchange on Twitter. So it goes public, just like ETH, right? It's it's a security token, or he does Twitter layer 1, right? But he registers it with the SEC. Then Twitter and Dogecoin pair on that. Who knows? Or he uses Doge chain. There's no limit to what Elon can do in terms of like marketing Doge or marketing his own coin. Like if Elon says we want to get Twitter heavily involved in crypto, then Doge is going to go up first and hard, right? Let me just see if I can find anything on the monthly, right? So, Doge on the monthly, there was a 9 bottom in August, and there could be 9 consecutive months, 9 months up. So we're at the third, we're on a 3, and, Doge could wind up this month, maybe unchanged, and then 6 more up months. Like, I don't know who is going to stop this thing. I mean, there's 22 cents for resistance. I mean, seriously, you're going to underestimate Elon Musk at this point? Okay. Driftless says, do we think Doge is technically capable of being used as a currency on Twitter? I have heard that it would need a Lightning Network style solution. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sure. I mean, some people are like, buy the news, sell the rumor in Doge. Okay. I mean, I think that's what people have already done, right? People who are epic bag holders in Doge are using these Musk related, but I mean, Musk could come out and Doge doesn't have to be used for everyday transactions. Doge could be used to pay rent or real estate in Austin, Texas, where he's got the Gigafactory here, right? Housing prices are falling, and he's just like, okay, well, maybe if you buy big ticket items or you buy a Tesla, you can pay in Doge. So you don't buy coffee with Doge. I don't know. I mean, even if he just talks about it, like somebody's right. I mean, he's not talking about it right now. If he starts talking about it and a huge rally comes in, it's maybe a trading play, but it's a trading play no one's talking about. No one thinks ETH can go up, never mind make a new high. Nobody thinks Doge can take out its recent high, right? Doge was all the way up at 14 cents back a year ago. No one's talking about it. No one was talking about the dollar being garbage at 111. Now the dollar is at 105 and it's headed for 102. No one believes it. Okay, cool. Let's just let that happen. Okay. Let's just make that happen. Okay. Slosh On says pumping early days, brother. Right. Okay. Swiffy trending on Dex tools. All right. We'll check out Dex tools in streams to come. Right. Okay. Israel says if Bitcoin goes anywhere near 13K zone, I'm dumping 90% of my savings in Bitcoin and ETH. Okay. Somebody says I want to get long the dollar at 102. Okay. I mean, again, people can do trading and trading rallies. Okay. Let's head over to like S&P. So right now, S&P has done about 76% back of the entire down move, which is actually typical for equities, right? Equities have gone down, and now equities have retraced 76% of not the whole down move, but of just that final leg. So the big question is, and of course, that's where everyone is selling. I get that. This is a 4-hour chart. Actually, let's just go to the DeMark in stocks. Let's just see what's going on there. It's not F around. Okay. So this is S&P on a 90-minute chart. This is SPY, the ETF. I can't get futures here. So, there was resistance around 406. It gapped up. There's reasons to believe the rally was over in equities. There's a 5-wave top. I get that. Let's look at QQQ. Okay. QQQ is a little bit different. It's a little bit closer to taking out support, taking out resistance at 292. So, I mean, equities are going to be really important. You know, there are a lot of people who are just caught in equities, and this is like, it's a godsend to be able to get out. But you have to go back to this tweet where people were like, oh, okay, well, I'm so bearish equities. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, okay. Further signs inflation is dropping quickly. This could be more fuel for the equities rally. Okay. Big players have no interest in equities. None. No interest. And they're selling it today. I mean, it's just, it's reflective of that. It's like, oh, a rally. Okay, let's sell. All right. Let's see what happens. Meanwhile, junior gold mining stocks, which is GDXJ, again, more selling. Okay. But this 13 bottom over here is being confirmed now. So there's a 13 bottom, a 9 bottom. That was all the way back in September. And now the DeMark work in GDXJ, which is junior gold mining stocks, has just started to count in the other direction. So the bottom is in. No, duh. Right. But people are selling the rally. Like people are like, okay, you know, GDXJ went up. They're going to take the money. But it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, but then let's go to the weekly chart, right? Okay. So there's a 9 top, reason to take the money or a pause. Last 9 top created a huge down move. Okay. Just going to do it objectively because we're doing live TA. But then look at this monthly chart, right? This is GDXJ, Junior Gold Miners monthly. Okay. The one wave up was back in 2017, 2016. So junior gold miners went up. That was the first wave. Then, of course, the torment of the 2 wave, right? From July of 2016 to the puke in 2020, 4 years of pain. The gold guys watched just this thing just bleed out. Then there was the 3 wave, right? Off, you know, massive QE forever. Then DeMark does an outside the box 4 wave, right? So this is printing, tightening forever, 0 rates forever, 5% funds. That's the 4 wave. And then GDXJ can make a new high. Okay. And probably attack this level, which is where the monster give up trade started from. I mean, where do people think these mining stocks are going to go at the start of next year when everybody's got a clean slate and everybody's going to figure out, okay, I have to get long something? I mean, GDXJ right now is at 36 and longer term resistance going all the way back to 2012 is at 102. Is at 102. So if I said GDXJ was going to 3x, if GDXJ 3x's, where's Ethereum? Right? Like seriously, like people are not asking themselves these questions at all. Like at all. Okay, let's go to interest rates, bonds, etc. Okay, that point has probably been made, but we can make it again. I don't mind. Okay, so I think DeMark crashed. Let's go to GDX over here because that's the big gold mining stock. Okay, so this is GDX. Let's go to the daily chart. And again, this is relevant. Like if you're into Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin news on YouTube is people are looking for Bitcoin news, but nobody's producing Bitcoin news. Okay, I'll give you some Bitcoin news. Bitcoin is going to follow the gold miners. Everyone's talking about the Bitcoin miners being in trouble, and they may be, right? I'm not saying there are that people out there aren't screwed, right? That the Bitcoin miners were queued up to sell this thing and just unload. But everyone knew that, and that's what created the fear, right? Bitcoin miners created 2018 PTSD. That it happened with me. I was like, oh my God, please not another one of these things where Bitcoin just vaporizes. Okay. So GDXJ made a base. GDX made a base, right? This was all of 2022. So, again, I know it's a live stream. I know I'm going for a longer live stream today because there's a lot to talk about. Yeah, there is. Okay. This base was July to November of 2022. So the bigger the base, the higher in the space. That's just the way it works, right? Because this downtrend is epic, right? Epic downtrend, right? From 41 in April. So this thing lost half of its value this year, and it's done nothing but really go down since August of 2020. And if you look at GDX in general, right, the entire bear market in gold, like GDX was at 60 in 2011. And everyone is selling GDX now because there was a small base and it popped through this previous low. So what was the ceiling, what was the floor is now, what was a floor became a ceiling, and now it's breaking out. And now you're telling me that this can't go up. I mean, let's just talk about a normal retracement. So here's a fib retracement on GDX. And of course, this is massively relevant to Bitcoin and Ethereum. So GDX was never able to get through the 38% retracement of its down move from 2011. I mean, the 38% retracement is standard. Yeah, it went there. It did a 50% retracement, but it can't get through this level. It was just like rejected, rejected, rejected. So what happens if GDX starts taking out the 38% retracement of the total down move? Okay. So if you're like, all right, Bill, that's not that exciting. Let's try this. Fib speed resistance lines off the 2011 highs. So obviously GDX stopped at this really important fib speed resistance line. I mean, it got stoned there, like, I don't know, time after time after time. It got stoned up there 3 times after doing brutal false breakouts, right? Brutal. That level is 27. If GDX, okay, this is a weekly chart now. If GDX, which is large cap gold miners, you're like, Bill, this is boring. No, it's not. This is not boring. Because the moment that this becomes exciting, crypto smokes higher. And so does gold and silver. Like, what happens if gold and silver and mining stocks are moving in 4 to 5% increments on the upside? Because frequently when rallies start, it's like, okay, it's going to all go up 30% in one day. That's not how really big up moves start. They start with 3% up moves and fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Right? Like, I can't buy it because of the FUD. I can't buy it because of the FUD. I can't buy it because of the FUD. And then the next thing you know, people are chasing performance on the upside. Okay. Kim Craig is here. Bill is the sheepdog. Thank you. I appreciate that. I kept you out of trouble. And now I'm trying to keep you. I kept you. I was happy and grateful and privileged to keep you out of trouble in April and May. Now I'm trying to keep you from despair, particularly at the holidays. I've spent a bunch of holidays by myself. It has sucked, right? And crypto despair at the holidays, like, I can't imagine anything worse. I mean, crypto Twitter was like drinking Drano over the last 3 days, particularly with SBF doing all these Twitter spaces. I mean, it could not have been more negative. Okay. Richard likes this model of just sort of telling it like it is. Yeah, man, this is it. I'm free. I'm on my own channel. I can do what I want. Okay. I can just do what I want. Okay. So, as you know, I'm the director of research for Gold Retriever. That's my new job, right? Because I believe in being able to speculate in gold outside the traditional mechanisms, right? So no one likes Bitcoin. No one likes Ethereum. And then, I'll be hosting some exclusive content. So if you think this is raw, Gold Retriever customers We'll be getting what other customers got at other companies, sort of like a premium webinar. We'll be doing a couple of those. Burning the Midnight Oil, we'll be doing them Wednesday and Sunday, but don't worry, the market update's not going anywhere. It's not going behind the paywall. We're just going to be giving exclusive content for the Gold Retriever ecosystem. And a lot of that is going to be about Gold Retriever TA on their water futures contract, Bark. I don't do a lot of that here because I like, for the moment, to just keep things like independent, right? This is just like what I think about markets. So, I mean, if you check this out, right, if you have token holders in GLDN, there's going to be like additional content available, right? And frankly, coming soon, right? Like this is the new style, right? The old style is report writing. Like I'm going to the University of Texas Business School Library. We're going to talk about the history of futures, the history of memberships at exchanges, which was what my argument on GLDN was to begin with. It was a membership at a new type of exchange. And then everybody hammered on it because of the code review, but you're not in it for the code. You're in it for the membership. Okay. I mean, seriously, that was the idea. So, we want to give members of this content about the history of futures, about the history of exchanges, about what happens when something goes way up and way down. Which is, I don't know if I can get this. Like maybe we could just effing start now. Like, let's like see if we can go to Chainlink, right? And let's just see if there's a way to get the history of Chainlink. So maybe Chainlink versus Bitcoin, right? So Chainlink. So, I mean, when you do Chainlink versus Bitcoin, right, you're going to see a couple things. Right. This is back to the bear market. Maybe we can actually not do it versus Bitcoin. Maybe we can just do it regular. Yeah. Okay. We'll do it this way. Okay. So Chainlink versus Bitcoin, right? Chainlink in 2019, and I think Chainlink was actually out earlier than that, but Chainlink did nothing. Then Chainlink exploded. Then Chainlink went down, right? Let me see what Chainlink did. So Chainlink did a 76% retracement of its down move. And I won't say what coin recently did that. And then, you had to tolerate some real pain in the ass action in Chainlink for a while, right? And I think Chainlink was out way before it was on Binance, but you had to tolerate one retest. You had to tolerate 2 retests, and you had to tolerate 3 retests on COVID. Okay, right before Chainlink exploded. I mean, this is how it works, right? Like everybody in 2019, everybody out, and then boom. Like seriously, for these webinars, for these things, for the GLDN holders, it's the history of futures, the history of futures memberships, because again, they got a water contract, right? And it's the history of crypto crashes, right? And it's also the history of, like soybeans, right? Everyone's like, oh, well, you got water and no one cares and no one's going to use the contract. Okay, like soybeans monthly goes back to December of 1968. Okay, so let's go all the way back to December of 1968. Now, this is not the same as Chainlink, but from December of 1968 to really September of 1969, no one was particularly interested in trading soybean futures. In other words, one thing people don't understand about futures contracts is that, you don't like, oh, it's not like perpetuals in crypto. It's like, oh, Well, we got a perpetual on this. We can get long, short, leveraged. It's like people are in right away. In legacy, futures contracts come out, but they gain a while for adoption as like farmers learn how to use them to lock in prices. Speculators learn that they can be speculative tools, or if there's a catalyst, a drought, a plight, right? A bumper crop, boom, right? Soybean contract goes up, massive volume, right? And, as you can see, beans trade in these wild ranges. So it's not like, I don't know, a water futures contract, suddenly makes water too expensive and unavailable. I mean, this was the range for beans from 1973 to 2006. And then beans made a new range when the Chinese came in and wanted some tofu. But again, and of course, this probably affected membership prices at the Chicago Board of Trade. Everybody wants a membership on the way up and nobody wants a membership on the way down. And you have volatility. Okay, well, that's what you want in futures. You want volatility. We're going to be studying this like NFA. Like we're going to be doing research. I'm the director of research with a capital R. So, I mean, that's what we're going to be doing, right? And I mean, this is just how futures evolve. Now, again, in gold and silver, futures evolved in a way that, I don't know. I mean, it's complicated, but maybe silver and gold and the futures contracts and what they call the paper metals market was manipulated somehow. They used the futures contract and the SLV to hold the silver price down. It's kind of a conspiracy theory, but obviously with inflation and the price of gold and the fact that, adversaries in the United States own heavy amounts of precious metals, that there's a huge incentive for Western democracies and the Fed to want to see gold not go up. I get it, which is why you want to get outside that ecosystem in order to try and speculate if you can. That involves micro caps and volatility, which is not for everybody. It's not investment advice, but the point is people will find a way to express the view they want to express. And going back to crypto, why is it that everybody has like thrown Satoshi out the window because of SBF? Like SBF and FTX was big, but they're not bigger than Satoshi. They're not. They're not bigger than the vision of Bitcoin. I mean, in the altcoin universe, it's famous to say you're not going to make any money with Bitcoin, that, you got to find the next 1000X. Okay, I agree with that. I agree with like life-changing money comes from altcoins, but you can also make money and have money in case you need it, which again, no one is talking about. Like, what's the next problem? The next problem is gold, water, Bitcoin, and liquidity. It's not canned goods. It's not canned goods and toilet paper. The next one is about liquidity. It's about liquidity, right? And your ability to pay for things in more than one way. And I also think it's about mobility, which is like your mobile home or your van that has a bed in the back. But that is a whole other stream and a whole other story. Farmer Sam Forrest is here. Bill, what did I miss? How's the market? Just got on the internet. Farmer Sam Forrest says, smash the likes. Kim Craig says Web3. Okay, what have we been talking about? Well, everyone's talking about SBF. No one's talking about the market. SBF could be the end of the bear market in crypto because we finally got it out of our system and everybody was so bearish they couldn't see straight. And then the CPI numbers come up and the market goes up and the Fed's going to say what they're going to say. And the more afraid people are, the higher it can go because markets climb the wall of worry. Markets climb the wall of worry. Okay. And, there are plenty of reasons to get involved in things for the next cycle. So I don't know if you know this, and we are going to get really into freestyle TA now. Okay. I did a video yesterday. I did a long-term Solana price prediction. Okay. And I don't know that I explained the experimental method because it's experimental, right? I don't know if I explained it well enough. So since we got a little time, let's just take a little time. right? Because we're going to be doing this for everything. I can tell you right now, like this is going to be the new price prediction methodology. Okay, so I'm just going to like delete everything and start over. Okay, because what we want to do is people are like, okay, where's my crypto going to be for the next cycle? And I do that research. And then people get interested in buying now, right? People get interested in buying now because I'm talking about the next cycle, and that the next cycle doesn't start for a while. The real question is, where can my coin be in 2023? So here's Solana versus Bitcoin, which started back. This is the daily chart, right? Now, I got to figure out where Solana is going to be in 2023. Right now, people are assuming Solana is dead. Okay. Is it dead? And if it is, where can it go? And if it's not dead, where can it go? Okay. So let's like zoom in. Let's see if I can find the level of interest. Okay. So let's start with this. Let's say that we want to go back to December of 2020, 2021. Okay. And what I want to do is I want to draw a GANN box. Okay. What's a GANN box? It can give you GANN levels. Okay. That you can extend out. Okay. So this is December of 2021. And I want to extend my GANN box out to December of 2023. Okay. Now, the question with GANN boxes is, where do you want this peak to be? Do you want it to be at this high uptick that occurred in December of last year? So this will be different than the one we did yesterday because it gives you an eye into the experimental process. So I mean, when you start using GANN and you start like the crystal ball stuff, no, it requires some experimenting and it just requires a different methodology. Okay, so interesting, if you go December 21 to December 23, interesting how Solana is right near, again, inflection point from the box. Okay, so it's right here. Okay, Solana is right there at an inflection point. Okay, so for the moment, okay, no pressure here. Okay, now I'm gonna leave the bottom of the GANN box. Like I'm just gonna give myself some space randomly, and here's why. I'm going to draw this 45-degree line. Okay. And I'm going to try to match this up. Oh, I remember what I did now. Okay. Let me change this. Okay. The start of the Solana rally was in December of 2020. Okay. And again, folks, this is slow, but this is how it gets done. When I'm sitting here and I go, okay, I need a Solana price prediction video. This is what we're going to do. Solana started in December of 2020. Okay. Now, the question is, when was Solana over? Was it over up here or was it over right there? This was the end of Solana, I think. It was April of 2022. That was get to the chopper. That led to Celsius, which led to, FTX, and then everybody who owns Solana got hosed. Okay. So I connected the start in 2020 and I drew a GAN box and I made the top line. See how this is flexible? I made the top line connect to sell in May and go away. Okay. And we're just going to assume that all of this up here was just like insane FOMO. And we're going to, that's where venture capitalists were selling it to retail. Okay. So like it or hate it, that's what we did. Right. And I stretched this GAN box all the way out to December of 2023 because I can stretch it. Right. Okay. So that's 2024. And that is December of 2023. Okay. So again, I got the point wrong, but it is interesting that when you got to this GAN level, that's where Solana collapsed. Okay. Now, what am I going to do next? So that's price. And then I'm going to do time. I'm just going to simply and plainly connect one end of the box to the other. Right. That's it. Right. I'm just going to draw a diagonal line because GAN was really into diagonal lines. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to GAN fan. Because the trick about GAN fan is that how do you draw it? Where do you put the lines, etc. And what I'm going to do with GAN fan is I'm going to put, see that white 1 by 1? That's the 45-degree line. Tough to see. Okay. I'm going to put that 45-degree line right through the center of the GAN box. Okay. And then I'm going to zoom in. I should have done it this way yesterday, but this is the Solana 2023 price prediction, support and resistance level prediction, GAN style, done live, by the way. Okay, so you have support on this GAN line. Okay, now again, this is versus Bitcoin. So obviously we're dealing with sats here, which is complicated. All right. So we're dealing with 0007. So 0007. Okay. Let's just pretend that if Solana goes down to 0007, that Bitcoin is right where it is now. At let's say 18K. So Bitcoin's at 18K, but everyone tax laws sells Solana down to 0007. So 18K times 0007. Okay, is 12.6. So 12.6 is a support point in Solana that no one can see. Now, again, it's a calculation. It's an estimation. Solana right now is at 1372. And if everyone pukes out Solana, that's where it can go. Okay. So let's say 2023 is a bear market disaster. How low can Solana go? Like if these guys who say it's really over, okay, that puts Solana over here. And again, if you like live TA, like, if you just like seeing how it gets figured out, then please hit the like button and comment because I can do more of this. I mean, I can do them in 3-minute videos, or I can do them live, or I can do both. Okay. So this is, this is basically 0003. Again, I can see people commenting, but I got to concentrate here because this is not, okay. So again, that's where Solana can go if everything goes to hell. Okay. And then I guess we're going to assume that if Solana goes to hell in a handbasket, then maybe Bitcoin's at 10K. So it's 10,000 times 0.00319. So 10K times. Okay. So that's the worst case scenario with 10K Bitcoin. It's basically 3.19 in Solana. So if it's over, okay, if it's over, Solana goes to 3.19 because that's where this 8x1 GAN line, which I can probably like, Okay, I can maybe highlight it a little bit better. 8x1 is usually the last stand on a fan line. Okay, and that's where it intersects, okay, with the GANN box. So like when I'm looking to forecast in the future, like over here, I'm just looking at the GANN line going, where's support? Now, when you forecast out in the future, you're looking to line up price with time. Okay, the way you line up price with time is you find out where the GANN box intersects the GANN fan. So if it's over in Solana, this is over. This is at March of 2023. Okay, so you got the point. Enough of that. Now, the next intersection might be at a point where Solana actually recovers back up here or down here. So there's like 3 cases for Solana where Solana goes up. So if you're looking for a year-end 2023 target, right? Like this is the big thing in stocks. Like, what's your year-end target? And I need that now. Okay, fascinating, right? So your year-end target for Solana is essentially where the give-up trade started from. Okay, which if, because that's where the GANN box intersects the 45 or at least one of the lines, right? So did they do this right? Right. No, I did this right. Okay. So this is the 2x1 GANN line, which can be powerful. 2x1 is very important. Okay. So if Solana goes back to its 2x1 GANN line, that effectively puts Solana, and I can spare you the calculation, that puts Solana and it unwinds the whole FTX trade. Now, we can go back and just see what level was that on the dollar chart. So if Solana unwinds the whole FTX debacle, right? So this is November of 2022. So that's the level where Solana can go back to. So, from 13 to 30, I mean, that's better than 3. And that certainly doesn't equate to Solana being permanently over. Because, the one thing that people are not talking about in Solana, because we always want to talk about what people are not talking about when it comes to Solana, is this idea of the Solana phone, right? Like, you can have a Solana phone and get airdrop stuff. And, they were making this and they showed it. And, if they mean business, Solana could just sit here. And again, going back to the Bitcoin chart, that might take a while. It could take a while. So, in December of 2023, Solana could be at 30. And who knows if Solana is going to outperform or underperform Bitcoin? You don't know. But it can unwind the FTX trade in a best case scenario. In a not best case scenario, right, where Solana is kind of boring. So, I mean, if we assume, Bitcoin is at 20K and Solana is at, in terms of sats, 0.001718. Okay. Okay, actually, let's assume Bitcoin is at 18K. The long pause as we do calculator math, as you get stressed out. This has happened to me before when I worked at Wall Street. When you get nervous, you can lose fine motor skills. One of the things I'll talk about in Wall Street war stories is that back when this was all done with a calculator, pre-Excel in 1991, you had to do calculator math under pressure. I didn't do well. I was 21. It didn't work out. Okay. Solana at 19 by the end of the year is another target. So if all goes well and Bitcoin is at 18K, so if Bitcoin is meh and Solana actually can grind higher, 19 is possible. So if Solana is dead, right, it's 3. Because if Solana is dead, it'll die quickly, right? I think. That's March. Okay, and obviously we can do this for your crypto. And if you're watching this and you want to leave your, you want to leave your, comments down below. Okay, and then we're going to go over here to Tesla for revenge of the left, right? So, one of the things that Elon could be doing with Twitter is alienating the people that buy his cars. Free speech isn't free. So if people don't like what Elon is saying on Twitter, then, Tesla can fall out of bed. And that's what's happening, right? This old floor in Tesla from back in 2021 is giving out, and everybody is puking Tesla as probably a way to either get back at Elon or just basically express the idea that no one's going to want electric cars because the people who buy electric cars are the same people who are pissed off that the free speech that's being allowed on Twitter is coming from the right. Okay. So Tesla is probably on a mission to fill this gap from November of 2020, which is at, like 130. So Tesla's currently at 156, and Tesla wants to go fill a gap at 130. And they're like, Bill, why are you talking about Tesla? Well, because if Tesla's stock drops enough, Musk has to embrace the crypto narrative. He might have to embrace the crypto narrative to keep people's attention and to get Tesla stock to stop dropping. I mean, I remember in 2017, the end came when an iced tea company in Long Island, New York, changed its name from Long Island iced tea to Long Island blockchain, and the stock like 10x'd. It was a small cap stock, right? Musk, if he's going to allow free speech and they're going to punish Tesla, his counterpunch is going to be crypto. It could be Bitcoin. It could be Doge. He's going to counterpunch with crypto because the left is counterpunching by dumping Tesla. Or, portfolio managers who don't agree with what he said. It doesn't matter. Left, right. I just do like agree, not agree, right? People were happy with the way Twitter was running before. They're unhappy now. And if they all start dumping their Tesla stock, then it goes down. It's a free market, right? It's a free market, which is a good thing. Okay. So Musk on one hand gets a lot of people's attention. On the other hand, Tesla stockholders are upset and he's got to have an answer. And Elon's always got an answer, and that is going to be crypto. So if it's the Twitter files, and that narrative has to stop because of Tesla, the next narrative is crypto. Okay. Kim Craig is asking, Matthias says, is silver still good? Not investment advice. Yes. Okay. Lord Junta is here. Pancakes and peanut butter joining the stream. Matthias, nice to see you as well. Somebody is asking, does GLDN have levels based on holdings? Yes, they do. They have tiers. Okay. Matthew Tinney is here. Welcome. Okay. Welcome back to the stream. Anybody who's been watching the market update for a long time, welcome back. If you know anybody who was watching the market update for a long time, or you can tweet and comment anywhere where there might be market update viewers, bring them back. Bring them back because we got a lot to say. And I may do the price predictions in videos because it's consumable in 5-minute increments, obviously. Or we can do some of this live based on who comments. Obviously, I can't do every coin live because I got to figure it out. Matthew is like, yeah, man. Yeah. Nice to see you too, bro. Right. Farmer Sam says to hell with blue, to hell with red. Smash the like button. Yeah, by the way, hit the like button. And subscribe to the channel. And get on your Twitter and your Instagram. By the way, Instagram is coming. You may have seen a video on YouTube Shorts of actual cryptotherapy, which is also coming, like real cryptotherapy, like physical fitness, mental health, which the GLDN group is very into, like very into. Okay, real cryptotherapy is coming as a segment, both on a live stream and separate videos. Okay. Rave Song Records says it's Bill's update right on time. Right on, bro. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Okay. So let's get the news out there and let's sum it up. Bitcoin and Ethereum are going up because no one thinks it can go up. Max bearish point was reached when SBF got arrested. The Fed can say what it wants. People are afraid to pay higher prices. That's fine. The market climbs the wall of worry. The market climbs the wall of worry. The crypto market went from max bearishness, massive exchanges insolvent, to a CPI number and a rally that caught everybody off guard. Everybody. And everybody is going to sell this uptick, and that's fine. Let them. If ETH can hold 1,300, it's game on. It's game on for a Santa rally. And it's up to the bears to prove me wrong. I was talking Santa rally before, and I'm just going to continue to talk Santa rally until I'm proved wrong. And that's okay, right? I mean, it's like you have a trading view, you have research, and if you're right, great. If you're wrong, you change the view. It's called a research framework, which is what you get by tuning in here, by joining the GLDN community. Okay? It's about research. I'm Bill Noble. I will see you next time.